Tomorrow is our great getting up morning.
Amen.
If tomorrow we have to meet the judgment day, Heavenly Father, we want you to let our folks know that we died facing the enemy. We want them to know that we went down standing up amongst those that are fighting against our oppression. We want them to know, Heavenly Father, that we died for freedom. Amen. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, y'all. I want y'all to put your hands together.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Make some noise.
well, you gotta love when things don't start right. Well, see, as you can see, I'm not in my normal studio apparatus. Sitting on my bed here in my bedroom here, but I figured, I gotta give what the people want and things of that nature. But once again, I'm makeshifting this show tonight. So we're gonna try and do what we can here and make sure this goes down in history as one of the best shows ever. But let me go ahead and introduce myself for those that don't know who I am. My name is Dan Adams, aka the Soulful Conservative, the DA, and the Prosecutor. If you happen to be checking out this live show right now, go ahead and share it out. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Just hit the share button, share it out. Make sure it's on the public side of things so everyone can see it and possibly listen in. So let me go ahead and get right into it. Today was a day. I'm not going to get into any particulars because it's family business, and in my household, family business stays in house. But it's just one of those days where it's like, man, just my wife just realizing it's Sunday, she thinks it's Saturday, and she's going to be in a rude awakening when she has to get up and go to work tomorrow. But it is Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, July 30th, 2017, and this is the Dan Adams Show live on Facebook. And I'm coming to you via my Dan Adams Show actual page. Now my normal profile, this is how I'm going to do it going forward, because I'm going to test something, see how Facebook handles this. Because Facebook is very sneaky in how they ban stuff, how they, bar you from uploading stuff and putting stuff on the Facebook social media website. So you have to just bear with me if you're looking at this on a different page. Yeah, it's not on my personal page. I'm streaming this through my the Dan Adams Show profile page, and not profile page, Facebook page. Excuse me. But if you're checking it out and you're listening, and you want to call in, 412-301-3666. That's 412-301-3666. Go ahead and give me a call. I don't bite. As a matter of fact, I'm a type of person that'll just let you do your thing if you call in, So let me go ahead and play this first clip of the evening. And but first I need there we go. Close that down. And then now we got to make sure I got my track ready. Yes, I do. Okay. Seeing that it was, a week or so or more with the decision made by President Trump in regards to disallowing transgender individuals from joining the military. Now, I put up an article on my website, thepoliticalheat.com. All one word, thepoliticalheat.com. If you're not aware, that's my website. Put up a story in regards to, hey, transgenders, you're not the only ones that do not have the right to join the military. Even us out here who are non-transgenders don't have the right to join the military. So I'm going to go ahead and let this clip play. And it's talking about the surgery costs and this big hubbub that went about in regards to why Trump did it, why he, and one of the main reasons was he didn't want to spend hundreds of millions, possibly billions of dollars in order to facilitate the, I guess, undecidedness of a human being. So let me go ahead and play that clip.
President Trump the other day barred transgender soldiers from serving in the military. He said it would be extremely costly. The medical costs would be really, really high. In response, of course, the press jumped on him and said that's not true at all. The Washington Post, for example, cited a Rand Corporation paper that found it would not be expensive at all. Transgender soldiers would cost the military just a few $1 million a year. So what is the truth about this? Elizabeth Harrington is a writer for the Washington Free Beacon. She's looked into it in some detail, and she joins us tonight. Elizabeth, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So what's the truth here? What would this cost?
This would cost, it's striking because the numbers, in fact, are there's only 0.7% of the active duty military population are transgender. But the cost is actually $1.3 billion over 10 years. And these numbers come from the Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler from Missouri. And I think they provide a much far accurate picture than the Rand Corporation study, which was commissioned by the Obama administration. Had very low numbers estimating the actual amount of transgenders in active duty. They excluded the reserves, they excluded the Gard, and they only assumed that 5% would get transgender surgeries. But the fact is, a more accurate number is 30%, and it's really a conservative estimate that 30% would get the surgeries, because actually, in fact, a much higher percentage of transgender individuals express the desire to get a surgical transition in the future someday. And if they're taxpayer funded, look, sex changes aren't cheap, and if they're taxpayer funded and they're free, I think it'll incentivize a lot of more transgender individuals to utilize taxpayer funding for these high-cost surgeries.
Is there any suggestion that those surgeries, whatever their cost, will improve military readiness, will make the military more effective at fighting wars?
No, and that's one thing I wasn't able to mention in the report, but it's striking because even the Rand Corporation admits that every transgender soldier who goes through transition will be out in estimated 238 days. So that is 238 days that they're not going to be deployed overseas in active duty, and someone else will have to go in their place. So when the White House says this is about cost, but it's also about readiness, they're absolutely right, because they're taking the place of someone else, and they get to have the taxpayer-funded surgery, and then they're not available to be deployed because these surgeries are extensive, and it's 238 days. That's most of a full year, so it's really striking.
Well, I'm confused. I mean, again, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not physically qualified to serve in the U.S. military, so, I'm not singling anyone out. But you keep hearing people say that the president's ban on this, or his tweet announcing a ban on this, will make our country less safe. How exactly would that work? Why would it be less safe?
Right. Really, the military is no place for political correctness, and the military discriminates on who serves every day. If you're obese, if you're flat-footed, if a variety of medical reasons, you can be denied from entering the service. And the fact of the matter is there's a tremendous amount of cost involved with transgender individuals. This estimate of the $1.35 billion over 10 years does not even include hormone therapy, which the estimates are $1,200 a month for hormone replacement therapy. So there's a tremendous amount of cost, but it's also the readiness issue. And I don't think there are many qualified people that can serve, and really disqualifying transgender because of these very practical reasons shouldn't get in the way of us being a strong military force.
Well, it doesn't make you a bigot to bring it up. I guess that would be my argument. Elizabeth, Thank you very much for adding some facts to a debate that's riddled with dishonesty and demagoguery. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington Post, of course, the New York Slimes, the Washington Compost, the New York Slimes, and any other liberal, leftist, numbnut, moonbat, lamestream media outlet put out these fake numbers in regards to how much it would cost the military to pay for any transgender procedures. They're saying it's only going to be a little over $1 million. Really? So I guess the 1.3 billion in their eyes is 1.3 million. Who knows? Who knows how these lefties think nowadays? But my thing is this. As the lady said in the clip, the military can halt anyone from entering to the military for any reason. So for these transgender supporting individuals out there who thinking that this is something that they're being singled out, no. I know, and for many probably don't know, I was a physical away from joining the military. And who knows what had happened when I took that physical. They could have found something that said, I'm sorry, Mr. Adams, you can't join the military because of this or this or this. And I was 18 at the time I was a youngin' thinking about joining the military. So they could have found something that would not allow me to get into the military. So transgenders out there who, and of course, put it this way, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, if you talk to most transgenders out there, which is a minuscule amount of the population here in America, and across the world for that matter, I honestly think they would not have a big deal with this, knowing the other factors involved in regards to other individuals, not just transgenders, who could be disallowed from entering into the military. To me, that's just how I see it. Who knows? But I wanted to speak on it. I wanted to play that clip. I'm only going to be on until about 9:30 tonight. I want to make sure I got it in before I end this broadcast for this evening. So, remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Dan Adams Show. Now, like I said, this was a change of venue situation tonight because if you caught my opening monologue, some family issues went down today, and I'm not able to be in my proper studio downstairs in the basement, but things happen, and I adjust. We all adjust. As individuals who are traveling through this life, we adjust. But I wanted to go ahead and move on to the other topic that I wanted to talk about this evening, and it has to do with the healthcare debate, with the imploding of Obamacare, and now, and I've been saying it for years, and a lot of other individuals have been saying this for years, that the exemption that Congress placed on themselves for not having to deal with Obamacare, that they don't even have to even look at Obamacare, that they don't even have to even put it in their frame of thought, even though the Democrats pushed hard, slammed it down our throats, did things illegally, backroom deals, and things that they needed to get this law passed, but they placed an exemption on themselves so they didn't have to be a part of Obamacare. They didn't have to take part in of Obamacare, and all the ugliness and craziness and downright illegalness, that's not a word, but I said it, but the illegality of Obamacare, forcing individuals to purchase health care, and if not, they get fined or get penalized in some form or fashion. Are you kidding me? Is this the America that we, us 40 plus year olds, remember growing up in, where government dictated to you how you purchased your health care, who you purchased it from, and if you didn't, you got a penalty. You were fined. This is unbelievable. But what I want to talk about now, I'm going to play this clip shortly here. But what I want to talk about is this exemption that should be revoked, removed, deleted, stamped out, stomped out, whatever phrase you want to put and say. This exemption that the Congress placed upon themselves, that they didn't have to involve themselves, enthrall themselves, engulf themselves, submerge themselves into this disaster that they call Obamacare, supposedly aka the Affordable Care Act, which we all know there's nothing affordable about it. But let me go ahead and play this clip. It is very interesting. If you haven't shared out the broadcast tonight, please go ahead, hit the share button here on Facebook, coming through the Dan Adams Show Facebook page. Yours truly, Dan Adams, aka the Soulful Conservative, the DA, and the prosecutor. If you want to give me a call, 412-301-3666. That's 412-301-3666. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
The president making his message clear, warning Republicans if a new health care bill is not approved quickly, bailouts for insurance companies and bailouts for members of Congress will end very soon.
Here to react, Heritage Action for America CEO Michael Needham. Michael, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
What do you think of that tweet? Is that the answer? Could that do anything?
I think that the president's right. I mean, the American people are sick of the dysfunction that we see in the United States Senate. You have 48 Democrats who are absolutely refusing to do anything to help solve the problem they created with Obamacare. You've got 3 Republican moderates who voted against doing anything to solve it. You have more moderates who don't even want to come to the table and negotiate. So let's put some pressure on Congress. Let's make sure that they feel the full impact of the premium increases the American people are feeling.
But, Michael, you heard from Nancy Pelosi over the past 24 hours. It seems like they're ready to come to the table. They want to shore up Medicaid. They want to make sure that those expansions are in place and that these people are taken care of. Do you think Democrats will actually come to the table?
Not on anything useful. They want to prop up Obamacare. They want to bail out Obamacare. And actually, some Republicans, Senator Lamar Alexander, said he wants to bail out Obamacare. That's not the answer. The answer is we need to deliver relief to the American people, get them out of this unfair, unaffordable law, start allowing them to get insurance that makes sense for themselves. The only impediment is the United States Senate. The House has shown it's willing to act. The President has shown he's willing to act. The Senate needs to come to the table. And if it takes a little bit of pressure by getting rid of this absurd exemption that they have, then that's exactly what needs to happen. I hope the President follows through on his threat.
Let's talk more about your op-ed. Obviously, we're reporting on it here. How much play has it gotten in other media outlets?
It's gotten a lot of play because the American people are sick of Washington, D.C. playing by different rules. Here's what the Congress did. You couldn't make this up. Obamacare, they were forced by the law to go into the Obamacare exchanges, but they didn't want to suffer what so many other Americans suffer, the loss of employer coverage, the skyrocketing premiums. So Congress, which employs thousands of individuals, defined itself as a small business. They said we have fewer than 50 employees, which isn't true. As a result of defining themselves as a small business, which none of us could do, they put themselves into the D.C. Small Business Exchange and are receiving up to $12,000 of subsidies to help themselves deal with these gargantuan premiums that are crushing everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about draining the swamp, something we continue to hear from President Trump, and this is right in line with what he's talking about when you think about the members of Congress that spend most of their time living in the swamp. You know, they're not living with their constituents. They don't understand the daily grind that most of them go through. So you talk about health care, to your point of maybe they should see what it's like to live under the Obamacare exchanges, to know just how many people are suffering and why they are. I mean, don't you think that would give them a different perspective?
It would. Washington, D.C. should be subject to the same exact laws of math that the rest of the country is. If you employ thousands of people, as Congress does, you do not employ fewer than 50 people. That's just a mathematical fact. And you should not be eligible for special preference to get $12,000 to help you cordon yourself off from these huge premium increases that are crushing millions and millions of Americans suffering under Obamacare.
Do you think this would come as a wake-up call to them? I mean, are you hearing from any members of Congress who were surprised by the president's outrage over the weekend?
Well, and it's been for many years that Congress has been. In 2013, when they were first going to feel the full impact of Obamacare, Congress went crazy. That's what caused President Obama really to break the law by allowing these subsidies to continue to flow from the Office of Personnel Management. Congress doesn't want this to happen. It's exactly the type of pressure point that President Trump can use to force Congress to come to the table, make those moderate Republicans follow through on a pledge that they've been making for 7 years that they want to repeal and replace Obamacare. And who knows, maybe we'll get a couple of Democrats who, once they feel the pain that Obamacare is causing so many millions of Americans, maybe they'll want to do something productive to start unwinding that law.
We'll see.
Well, maybe when the election comes a little closer, they realize they're not going to have a choice but to get involved in fixing the healthcare system. Michael Needham, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I have to disagree with the young lady and her sentiment right there at the end that when election time comes around, they're going to have to deal with it. We've had a few election cycles, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to Obamacare being at the top of the list. And has anything been done about it? No. Absolutely nothing. So we're at a situation now, ladies and gentlemen, where, number one, what are we going to do about it? We all know exactly where Congress stands in regards to, and what drives me nuts. Rand Paul said it the other day on the Sean Hannity radio show that Marble Mouth Mitch McConnell will not change the rules in regards to, number one, how they go about as far as the majority rule in regards to voting on these bills. Why does it take a 60 vote, not a 60 vote, what is it? No, not my brain's not working right now. A 60 vote veto, I think that's a 60 vote veto proof majority. Yes, 60 vote veto proof majority. That's number one. What's up with that? I guess in certain aspects it should be that way. It should be, but then again, but here's the thing. Why is it that we have to have a certain amount? Even like for instance, when we were having all these issues in regards to getting people voted into Trump's cabinet. I'm thinking to myself, you had Mike Pence, the vice president, breaking a tie. He broke another tie this past week in regards to, which ultimately didn't do anything, but allowing the discussion to continue in regards to trying to repeal and replace Obamacare. But why are these stipulations even in place? Why is Marble Mouth McConnell? Now, granted, we use it to our advantage in regards to Neil Gorsuch getting nominated as Supreme Court Justice. But I'm thinking to myself, do we need to relook and reevaluate this whole situation in regards to the nuclear option? I don't know. That is something that's either we're for it or we're against it. There's no like wiggle room or in between. So look, I look at it like this, ladies and gentlemen. If we're going to have this situation where we got to have a certain amount of votes, even though if it's even 51 to 50, that you got to have a certain amount of votes for a bill to continue its passage. It's kind of tough, ladies and gentlemen. It's a tough situation. It's a tough scenario. It's a tough road that we're on. We're slipping and sliding on it. And I don't know how we're going to gain traction in order to slow this thing down. Look at it from a different angle. Look at it from just a common sense angle, for number one. But I guess that's another debate for another day and another show. What I wanted to get into real quick here is, first and foremost, I wanted to send my condolences to the parents of Charlie Gard, the young baby, innocent baby, who was struggling health-wise, had this rare condition, and the powers that be in the socialized healthcare system over in the UK took it upon themselves to not allow the parents of Charlie Gard to control how healthcare and health, put it this way, you have socialized single-payer healthcare in the United Kingdom. The powers that be, the bureaucrats that be, the individuals who basically have your life in their hands, decided that this young baby, this innocent, precious little baby, could not be allowed to be taken out of that hospital. They did not allow his parents to make decisions in regards to his health care. And I'm thinking to myself, and even at the very end, when they just said, you know what, we are not going to win this death panel that's in place in the UK and their socialized single-payer healthcare system, it's not going to allow we as parents of Charlie Gard to make decisions in regards to what kind of health care he receives. It just totally and utterly breaks my heart, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm even have to even talk about this. And we've had scenarios in the past, even in this country, not to this extent, but you had situations where the bureaucrats, these medical bureaucrats, didn't allow the family of the person in need make the decisions for their loved one. So once again, my condolences go to the parents of Charlie Gard. May God envelop them with his love and his grace and his mercy as they go through their bereavement period. I know this is something that's going to be with them for the rest of their lives, and I'm just asking God to be with them. Secondly, I want to go ahead and bring up this whole situation. And as we've seen Reince Priebus either get fired or resign, who knows how it went down. Maybe we'll find out from a tweet from Trump in the coming days, but who knows? Well, he's gone, and General Kelly has now been put in place of Reince Priebus. Reince. Dude, whoever your parents, man, are, really? Come on. But anywho, so Mr. Priebus is no longer chief of staff under President Donald J. Trump. Well, I look at it like this. There's been some shakeup. There has been some unwarranted public humiliation on the part of Trump and this whole Jeff Sessions thing. I don't agree with him calling them out publicly. Do that stuff behind closed doors. You don't really need to be putting it out there. That ain't cool. So, as I'm about to wrap up this particular 30-minute edition of the Dan Adams Show live here on Facebook Live, I'm going to play a great clip here from probably the greatest president that has ever held the office, Ronald Reagan, talking about libertarians and conservatives via liberal fascists.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian. Well, always has been. Because how do we call a liberal? You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism. And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation. Well, isn't this the liberal philosophy? The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. What more can you say? What more can I add to that? I'll add this, though, seeing that I have the opportunity to do so. We as conservatives, we as libertarians, and we have avenues and roads where we collide, no doubt about it. But for the majority of what we believe in, we want government to only be there when it is needed. We don't want government infiltrating our lives and taking over it. Point blank, end of story. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Dan Adams Show. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful engagement and an engaging yours truly. Thank you for tuning in. Let me give you the particulars. I'm at Dan Adams Show basically on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Gab, Instagram. The website, thepoliticalheat.com. That's all one word, thepoliticalheat.com. Thank you for tuning in for this edition of the Dan Adams Show, live here on Facebook Live. Check me out tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be on Facebook Live and Spreaker. So until next time, God bless you and yours. May He keep you and your family safe. Until next time, God bless. Peace.
Thank you.